Yeah, it's 100 plus degrees. My car said 107. So I thought to myself, as soon as you get home, I tell you what you need to do. You need to go on a Ruck. Yeah, it takes a special kind of person, right? It's actually so beautiful out. I mean, it's just so sunny, so nice. I love it. Perfect day as far as I'm concerned. I'm gonna try to go a little bit farther than normal because I have the time to do it, because I don't have to go to work and it's not 4:30 in the morning. In this day and age, it's so easy to compare yourself to people online, fit athletes, influencers, TV personalities, etc., etc. And sometimes if you spend enough time watching movies or looking at these influencers, etc., you start feeling like, well, why can't I have that? Why can't that be me? They must have got lucky. They must have good genetics, etc., etc. They must have more time than me. But you know what? The truth of the matter is, most of us will never be them because we're not willing to do what it takes to become that. Because the people that you're probably looking at, oh sure, there's some that are lucky. They've got good genes or something, but most of them, even the ones that appear to be lucky, work really, really hard. They work a lot harder than you can imagine. Like, it looks easy when a professional does something because they've been doing it so long that it comes, well, it doesn't come natural, but they've earned it. So they've earned their spot. And, you know, it's easy to tune in and compare yourself. But if you really look at it, what do you do to earn what they've got? And would you be willing to sacrifice all the fun foods you eat, the drinking, the good times, the staying up late, the partying, whatever it is that you do? Or you run yourself ragged. Maybe you don't eat at all. And then you binge. You binge eat while you watch Netflix. You know? And that's another thing we all say, we don't have time. But you've all seen the latest series, the latest episode of whatever show that you watch on Prime or Netflix or whatever. We're all up to date on the latest movies, but yet somehow we don't have time. That's crazy. We make time for the things that we want, that's for sure. And the foods that we want to eat, the drinks that we want to drink, we make sure that we get those. But nah, at the end of the day, you're not willing to do what it takes to get what they have. So it's a good idea not to compare. Now, I know this because there's been times in my life when I've done probably 65, 70% of what it takes. Not 100%. I can't ever say I've done 100% because usually when I work out like a fiend, I'm not eating right. I'm eating the cheat meals on the weekends or the pizza, the nachos. And so I'm not doing entirely what I need to do. You know, when in my heyday of photography, I got a lot of notoriety and people really loved my work. I had quite the following. But yet, you know, I rarely had a gallery show. And at the time, I wasn't selling art. I sell a lot more art now, but I'm a different person now. But the point being, I shot a lot of models, a lot of photo shoots, and living in LA, I booked a lot of business. I way undercharged though. I always way undercharged because I didn't value myself. And I thought if I overcharged, or if I charged just right, I wouldn't get hired. So, the point is, I've had some experience of working really hard towards something and seeing the change that it can make. And I've been on the other side too, where I didn't do anything, but yet I wanted the results. You know, like when I was drinking, I don't drink anymore. I haven't drank 5.5 years, or, before my daughter was born, I quit. But I couldn't quit for the longest time, for years. And I would just drink way too much because I didn't want to say no. And I had excuses. That's just all there was to it. I had excuses. Well, I can't today. I can't tomorrow. I'll start next week. I'll start on Monday. That's it. I just won't have anything. I'm not going to do it anymore. And I had an excuse every time. I needed to relax. I had a stressful day. Or it's just vodka. It doesn't even have any calories. It's fine. Don't even worry about it. And the truth is, you got to worry about it. Otherwise, you end up with nothing. True story. But I'll tell you what, YouTube is full of advice. YouTube is full of really good advice. Real professional looking channels. Everybody tells you exactly what you should or shouldn't do, how to do it in 5 easy steps. So far I'm not that guy. I'm not going to tell you. I do have a lot of experience in self-improvement, I'm not going to lie. But I can also tell you, the only reason I know anything is because I've done it wrong. I failed. I fell so many times. I've had to get back up so many times that I've learned a few things over the course. I've learned what doesn't work for sure. And I've learned to look in the mirror. I've learned to be self-aware to an extent. I'm sure I'm not all the time, but I've learned to really self-evaluate and figure out, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? I'm great at giving advice though. I'm very good at giving advice, but I'm not so great at listening to my own advice. A lot of times, I'm very hard on myself. If I fall, I feel like, I really messed it up. Because I do extreme things, like I'm gonna ruck every single day, or I'm gonna run 3 miles every morning, or 4 miles every morning, or I'm gonna go to the gym 6 days a week. I'm gonna do burpees for 100 days, etc., etc. And every time I would tell somebody, you're probably gonna burn out if you try that. Some people can do it, but most of the time you burn out because life happens. Family, work, stress, you miss a day. And if you can learn to miss a day and be okay with it, you might be just fine if you don't take it too serious. But if you can't miss a day because that means you failed, then you're gonna really struggle. And that's a lot of people's problem, I think. They're too extreme. They're too hard on themselves. And it's too final for them. They say, I'm gonna do XYZ, I'm gonna do XYZ diet or whatever, I'm gonna lose a certain amount of pounds. And then when they mess up, they beat themselves up. People wanna quit drinking. And when they have a drink, they were good for a week or whatever. They have a drink, they fall right back into it because they feel bad, they feel shame, they feel guilt. But the truth is, in reality, we mess up. Things don't always go like they're supposed to. Sometimes things just don't go right, and that's okay. That's called real life. And if you want any long-term results, you gotta have a long-term plan. Not some short burst of energy that's not gonna last. I put more weight in my weight vest, so I've got all the weight that I own in there right now, which isn't a lot. It's probably 30 pounds altogether. But it's surprisingly more than you think over time. For me, I feel it in my traps, especially my left one. It really adds a lot to the shoulders. Everything else is okay, especially these kind of weight vests, because the weight is pretty centered. Like where if you wore a backpack, it would all be to the rear of you and it would really throw everything off. It'd be hard. But this kind of weight vest there's weights all the way around it. So it's actually pretty cool. But it still adds up over time. I'll tell you, one of the biggest challenges with recording myself is, you know, you go on YouTube looking for inspiration, and obviously the algorithm is going to serve you up the best most of the time for whatever you're looking for. And you get the perception that everybody else out there is doing something right that you're not doing. Because I get videos that literally have 3 views. Now, theoretically, shouldn't matter, right? Who cares? Who cares how many views? What are you doing it for? Are you trying to do it for the views? Are you trying to do it to be popular? What are you looking for, you know? But sometimes you kind of wish that more people would connect and watch your stuff and listen to what you have to say. Maybe commiserate. Maybe they have a channel too, you know, and you make kind of friends that way. Like when I was doing burpees every day, and I started looking for other people that did burpees. And I started looking for somewhat smaller channels that I could befriend, you know, comment, cheer them on. Especially when I saw small channels, I'd cheer them on. Because I thought, I think everybody needs that, whether you think so or not. Like, who doesn't want a little support? You're trying to change your life, right? And I made quite the connections. It was quite the community. It was pretty awesome. I was very appreciative of that. And this is the same YouTube channel, but it's been a long time since I had surgery and everything else, heart surgery. And so all those people, yeah, I'm still friends with them, but they don't come to my channel anymore. And the algorithm only sees me as, you know, this tiny channel that has no traction. So the algorithm determines, well, this channel's not worth sharing. And so I don't think anybody literally sees it. It just doesn't go out there. And so you start comparing yourself and you start thinking, well, I must be doing something wrong, or I'm not good enough in some way, shape, or form. And that's BS. Because there's some really terrible channels out there that get a lot of views. Just because somewhere down the line they made a video that connected somehow, tricked people, whatever it might be. And so people flock to their viral video. Their channel still sucks, but they still subscribe. And, you know, that's just the luck of the draw. And some people, you know, really work for it. And they really want those views. And they spend all their time trying to figure out how to do that. I'm just not that desperate for it. I think it would be awesome, but I'm just not that desperate for it. This is definitely about my journey and not about, you know, monetizing or quitting my job or, you know, all the things you hear people do. You know, how they make $20,000 a month or all this garbage. That's not what I'm about. I got a job, I'm good. I do photo and video for a living, I'm good. But I do want to get in shape, and I do have a lot to say, and I love sharing my message. And who knows, maybe one day it'll catch on, because it does take time too. Sometimes you think, you know, you put up a few videos and somehow that should do it, but that's not true at all. It takes a lot to get anywhere. Millions and millions and millions of people on YouTube. You know, your content, first of all, has to be very specific. And the algorithm has to know what your content is in order to serve it up. And if you're vague, like I am sometimes, the algorithm has no idea what to do with you. So, So you end up, you know, lost and alone. But it's all good. It's all good. It's not gonna stop me from doing what I gotta do. Because at the end of the day, I'm the only one out here on this ruck. I'm the only one wearing this weight vest, sweating in this heat. And at the end of the day, only I'm the one who benefits from it. Now, whether my words get heard, whether I inspire anybody, who knows? Maybe someday somebody will come back and look back on this channel and go, hey, pretty cool stuff, man. So my storage was full. I had to stop and delete some files. Apparently I talked too much. But I was just saying, you know, I don't know how much I said, but essentially, if you quit, you get nothing. You gotta hang in there and you gotta keep going. And you can't worry about what anybody thinks or doesn't think, or who's watching, who doesn't watch. The only thing that matters is you're doing it for you and you're doing what you want to do. That is crucial. This is normally where I turn around right here. This is usually the turnaround spot, but I'm going farther today. I don't know how far I'll go exactly. Feel pretty good right at this moment. But we're gonna keep on going past the lighthouse, past the restaurant, see who's wandering around down here. You know, it's funny, as I was crossing the highway, coming to the lake here, there was a homeless guy that I stopped to talk to for a second. He goes, how far are you going? And I told him, and he said, they say it's the hottest day of the year. And I said, yeah, hell yeah, it is. That is for sure. It is a hell of a hot day out. But that's good. I'm enjoying it so far. It feels really good out. This is the lighthouse at Lake Hefner, Oklahoma City. Well, actually, technically we're in the village, but this is the lighthouse that I always talk about. The wind is almost non-existent out here right now. Feels really good. Actually, there's a slight breeze. It's a sort of a cool breeze, to be honest. It's not too bad. I love it. At night, everybody comes here. All the photographers come here and get pictures of the sunset in the lighthouse. It's a big thing. I used to run out here every morning, 4:30. So peaceful. There's usually nobody out here. I mean, obviously it's 4:30 and it's dark, but you'll get a few people, like a couple of the same people. Then around 5:30, you start seeing people pull up and go run because it's nice and cool, you know? And then you get your bike riders that are riding around the lake. I used to do that all the time too. That was a lot of fun. But seriously, it is the little things that add up to the big things. You know, if you want change in your life, if you want anything in your life, you just start somewhere, wherever you're at, and you do something. And you keep going until you get there. And then keep going, because you never know where you're gonna end up. But at the end of the day, if you don't do something, you're gonna be nowhere. And you're gonna be wishing that you started. I can tell you many times in my life when I really wanted to do something and I got sidetracked, and 6 months, a year goes by and you look back and go, man, I would have been there. I would have been so much farther along if I would have just stayed with it. And if you keep a journal, like I've done so many times, for years at a time, I use OneNote and I'll just open up a new file and just start typing. And it's funny if you go back and look at how many times I made plans and decided the things that I wanted and didn't want. And it's funny to see how many things that I haven't done and how much time has passed so quickly. And if you just stick with it, you'd already be there. You would have conquered that goal and been on to something much bigger. But a lot of times it's so easy just to get sidetracked and just not do it at all. It's really sad, actually. There's very few people out today. So apparently everybody else does think it's hot. Actually feels pretty good to me right now. I don't think it's that hot at all. This weighted vest is definitely getting to my shoulders though, my traps for sure. Really pulling on them. I'm almost to maybe 2.25 miles, 2.5 miles. I'm not sure exactly. And I noticed that my watch needs to be recharged too, so it's probably not gonna keep track too much longer. Kind of funny. Sometimes I look at this kind of activity as like a meditation. I think I said that the other day. I'm sure nobody heard it. But I look at it as a meditation, you know. I just try to get out of my head and do the work. Try to think how appreciative I am of being alive, how thankful I am to be here after everything I've been through. I'm very thankful that I have an opportunity to be out here, even walking, even being able to do this. The fact that I can talk is a damn miracle. Because 4.5 months ago, whenever it was, I couldn't talk. For 6 weeks, I had no voice. I had a very light whisper. My vocal cords were paralyzed, and they said that might not ever come back. I had a feeding tube, peg tube, couldn't drink water, couldn't taste anything, couldn't eat food. I just had to have liquid pumped through a syringe in my stomach. 6 weeks after surgery. Oh boy, that sucked. And I really wasn't sure if it would ever come back. It was very depressing. I couldn't even drink water. I wanted to taste things so bad and I couldn't. No flavors, nothing. That was awful. So I have to really be thankful that I'm out here and I'm able to do this. It's something to be super grateful for. It kills my shoulder to do that. Hold the camera out like that. They're pretty sore at the moment. This one's not so bad. But you know, talking about doing what it takes, like, you know, when you get off work and this is what you're doing with your time, this is how you can end up with results. You know, you're gonna lose those pounds or get in shape, whatever it is that you're trying to do, because this is the kind of thing that you need to do. You need to go out, you need to exercise, whether it's the gym or working on that diet or rucking or walking or taking the dog out or whatever it is. If you're not willing to do that, you're not going to get the results. You know, when you see those athletes, like I said, they don't just sit around, they're working. It's a routine, it's a regular deal. They're working. And they say no to the nachos, you know. That's how they got that body. It wasn't an accident. It's a lifestyle. You see these celebrities that seem to always be in perfect shape. It's because they torture themselves with lean diets every day of their life. Of course, they get paid for it. They get paid well for it most of the time. But it's the same with anybody who's, you know, really got something special. They work for it. Most people don't just get it by accident. Few people do, I suppose, but us regular folks, we gotta work for it. And that's okay. You know, sometimes you gotta make working okay. YouTube talks about how easy everything is. You know, all these people like, let me show you the easy steps. Oh, BS. Nothing worthwhile is easy. Everything takes work. A good relationship takes work. Good body takes work. A good job takes work. Things take work. That's reality, man. When I look back, I've got memories all over the country of running, different states, exercising, doing crazy things, photo shoots. You know, I'm always on the adventure. But that's how you live. That's a good life. You know, the person that sits on their couch and does nothing for 40 years, that's their life. You know, we could both spend 40 years. One of us could be adventuring the whole time, and the other one could be sitting over there going, why me? Why all this? Why? I could easily do the why me thing. 3 heart surgeries? Come on, man. I've had all kinds of issues in my life, trust me. But instead of saying why me, I think why not me? Why can't I do that? The answer is I can, and I am. Am I rich? No. Did I manifest a Tesla into my life? Yeah, sure did. I didn't for the longest time. I didn't think I could manifest a damn thing. I started changing the way I talked to myself. And I thought, you know what? You can do better than that. And so I said, okay, well, if that's so true, why can't I have a Tesla? I started thinking about it all the time. I went out and bought a damn Tesla. Hell yeah, best car I ever bought. And I've had a lot, believe me. I've had a lot of vehicles. The Tesla is by far the best. Love that thing. But lots of things in life are possible, but you gotta work. You can't just expect things to come to you. You gotta go out there and get it. Life isn't a spectator sport. You gotta go out there and participate. There's no trophy for watching. Nobody gives a damn. You gotta get your feet dirty sometimes, get your hands dirty sometimes. But that's what makes a good life. Well, I'm just about the 3-mile mark. Got a little over 2 miles back. So it'll be a 5+ mile Ruck. Not too bad, considering how hot it is. I feel good about it. The weight vest is definitely wearing on me. That's okay. It's all part of the deal. It's just what we do. Yeah, this Ruck is really getting me. Really getting me. The shade feels hella good. I don't know how much shade I've got left on the way back, but some shade would be nice because it feels way better. My shoulders are killing me. They took out all the water fountains after COVID. They used to have water fountains around this lake. They took them all out. So there's not a single place to get water. Luckily, I brought my water, but it's a small thing of water, so I'm rationing it. And I could really use a lot more. It'll be nice when I get home. Take off my shoes. I've got some blisters that formed the other day, and they're really acting up. So yeah, the Ruck's getting to me. That's okay though, because you got to get back somehow, right? You came out here, now you got to get back. This is always the part where I start feeling good, where I'm leaving the lake, I go up and over the bridge for the freeway, and the rest is all downhill. It's all back to the house. This whole route is pretty cool because I start at my house and I end at my house. I don't have to get in my vehicle. I don't have to get all sweaty in the vehicle at all. I just leave the house, come back. It's really nice. Today is gonna be about a total of 5 miles, I'd say, when it's all said and done, which is a pretty good Ruck. Before the surgery, I was doing 10 miles around the lake with the guys. Had a slight less weight in the pack, but that was also before the surgery. Not quite up to snuff just yet. Once again, I appreciate anybody who watches these things. Like I said, I know it's not a lot, but I try to be honest and I try to be real with myself and whoever watches. I'm not here to give you any quick fixes or miracle cures. Just sharing my journey. It's not an easy journey. In fact, it's quite difficult at times, like right now. But I do appreciate anybody that's going along with me. And I'll share all the goods and the bads with you. So, I don't know if I'll do any more recording on the way back. I've got about 1.5 miles. Might just put my head down and do this thing. But it's been a good day. It's a beautiful day. I think I'm gonna get some shade on the way back, hopefully. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.